Yes, so today we have with us Shri Rajesh Uppal, Director, Suzuki Motorcycle India Private Limited, former Senior Executive Director, HR, IT and Digital, Maruti Suzuki India Limited, Gurgaon, Haryana. Let's get started, sir. So we are truly honored to have you here today, sir. So how was your day, sir, so far?
Wonderful.
Great, sir. Welcome to MCET, welcome to Pollachi, sir. So are you liking this place? How is Pollachi?
Lovely. And some of the innovation I saw, especially in the cancer issue, phenomenal work being done here.
Great,
Never
sir.
heard of this, but I think kind of work being done here is phenomenal.
Looking back at your early days of career, you have worked in Bharat Heavy Electronics Limited, which is hugely a public sector, and then you choose to switch to Suzuki Corporation, which is hugely a private sector. What made you to take that bold decision in life, sir?
Okay, I think one thing is Maruti Suzuki also in 1985 was a public sector. So it was a 76% government and 26% Suzuki. So it was a public sector shift, not really government to private shift. But more than that, I think my feeling after 4 years working in BHEL was that I'm not learning enough. And in career, if you don't learn continuously, you don't enjoy working. And at least I don't enjoy working.
Yes.
So reason for me was not really to really, I didn't like BHL, but more toward that I got much more learning opportunity I was getting in Maruti because it was setting up from scratch and a lot of work to be done. And that's the change. In fact, the first role I got in Maruti to work on was equivalent to a DGM level role in BHL.
Okay.
So that's the kind of shift I got into and all. And again, the story is history.
So throughout your career, you've been introduced as a HR leader, IT leader, digital member, and also as a board member. So which of these identities felt most natural to you? And was there ever a point where one identity had to die for another version of Rajesh Uppal to emerge, sir?
I think I'm basically a technology person, and that's the shift I made in my first job from mechanical engineering to the IT technology. And one thing I am very comfortable with is that I can't be comfortable at one area of work. I need something to happen continuously, improving and all, which is very much DNA of a technology industry, where things are changing regularly. You need to learn, you can create value for the company using technology and all. That's the natural instinct to be. But somehow, career, I had HR to a major area to work on, which is also is very interesting area to work. Very different than the technology industry to work. People management is, the technology is still manageable, do that. But HR is people centric. So you need to be very, very sensitive to what is required to be done. But luckily, I think I could do a lot of transformation in HR also. Both technology-enabled transfer, which came naturally. So we became, a large technology-enabled HR operations, listening from the employees or all that, the transaction happening, self-services around to do that. So we could free a lot of HR people from routine transition tasks to the thing. So maybe having a technology background helped me to run HR much more efficiently and effectively. But by core of it, I'm still a technology person and still love doing technologies and all. So that's my core, and I'd love to be in my core too.
So we often celebrate adaptability, but is there something you refuse to adapt to despite the pressure from the industry? A principle, a practice, or a belief that you deliberately protected, sir?
I think getting into HR is something which is very different than the running technology and all. HR you can't run with, I'll say goodies to everybody. So HR you have to sometimes take very hard decisions. If somebody is not doing good, you have to tell him that you're not doing good, and if not, you have to take hard decision of partying or stuff like that and all. which becomes very difficult for an emotional person who has been working on technologies for long time, where adopt, learn, and maybe create value has been the thing. So that change, I think, has been a big difference for me to get into a very difficult domain of handling people, because every person is different. He needs a different kind of treatment, and you need to create a large ecosystem where almost 100,000 people are there in the ecosystem, are enabled through right kind of processes to make sure that you take care of each and every person in the organization effectively, with right kind of motivation, with right kind of involvement to grow. I think it's a very different ball game to work on and all. And somehow, luckily, I could really drive that for good 8 years as a head of HR in the company, and transform the way we could work. And one example I was giving yesterday was, typically, all manufacturing measure productivity of shop floor. How much manpower used to run operations and make it more efficient, more automated, less person, and more accurate. But we never bother to measure white collar efficiency. You have so many people, so many around what output they are creating. So we could make a framework to really measure the white collar productivity, which was a very interesting change we could bring in. And I think that's really giving value to not only that company, also to many companies where I'm the board director now and supporting them.
Under your leadership, Maruti Suzuki has worked with more than 60 and plus startups. So what is that one thing that these generation youth is glorifying about startups, but is very difficult to handle in reality?
Okay, I think somewhere in 2019, IT was getting saturated, and that decision was how to really, IT was busy into running the business, and we were growing business around. So the focus on innovation was getting low because people were busy into their work.
Okay.
So I created a separate organization which is called Digital. I said they'll not work on day-to-day operation. Let the traditional IT run the business, and the new digital team should only look at innovation. And so there are multiple areas we worked on. AI was one center of excellence, the automation was another excellence, or digital product making was another excellence. We created one more vertical for innovation, which was working with startup. Now traditional big companies, corporates, normally get much constrained by their processes. You have to give request to 3 companies, lowest one should win and stuff like that. And you can't work with startups like that, because they are doing innovation and they have to get into a faster education. So we created a new program which we called at MAIL that time, and now it's an incubation program, where we said, this is a business problem. Who can startup can solve this business problem? And if we select you, we'll give you some prize money and awards and all. More than that, we'll pay you to run your solution in my company. So we are paying for a so-called paid POC, so that product which they are showing, your ideas which they are showing, can this be matured in our environment under mentorship of our team. So our senior people who have been working in Maruti for a long time, they don't understand domain well. They should help startups to mature and then build a solution which can be used later on. And I'm glad to say now more than 50 startups work with them. You ask question about mindset of young people and the startups and all. The problem I find is startups have a good understanding of technology. They do have a good ideas to work on, but they sometimes lack the real life business problems. So that's where I think this program worked very well, because we are coming for business, we have a real life business problems, and you have ideas to work on. Can we work together to generate some new ideas? And I guess that program has worked very well for Maruti, And today I think lots and lots of startups and lots of young people are getting mentored to really create those new solutions for the Indian industries, and maybe they're taking